Hi guys, Squishybee here. Today is October 3rd, 2022. Welcome to this week's Bible reading. Today we're going to be doing Mathew chapter 26. Let's just start with a quick prayer first. Father in heaven, thank you so much for bringing us together for these Bible readings. I pray that you please bless your word and bless those that are listening and help us to have wisdom for what it is that we're reading today. And help us to block out any distractions and just focus on your word today. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Okay, verse 1. And it came to pass, when Jesus had finished all these sayings, he said unto his disciples, Ye know that after 2 days is the feast of the Passover, and the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified. Then assembled together the chief priests, and the scribes, and the elders of the people, unto the palace of the high priest, who was called Caiaphas, and consulted that they might take Jesus by subtlety and kill him. But they said, Not on the feast day, lest there be an uproar among the people. Now, when Jesus was in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman, having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, To what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much, and given to the poor. When Jesus understood it, he said unto them, Why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there also that this woman hath done be told for a memorial of her. Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests, and said unto them, What will ye give me, and I will deliver him unto you? And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. And from that time he sought opportunity to betray him. Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread was the disciples came to Jesus, saying unto him, Where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover? And he said, Go into the city to such a man, and say unto him, The Master saith, My time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples. And the disciples did as Jesus had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover. Now, when the even was come, he sat down with the 12. And as they did eat, he said, Verily I say unto you, that one of you shall betray me. And they were exceeding sorrowful, and began every one of them to say unto him, Lord, is it I? And he answered and said, He that dippeth his hand with me in the dish, the same shall betray me. The Son of Man goeth as it is written of him, but woe unto that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been good for that man if he had not been born. Then Judas, which betrayed him, answered and said, Master, is it I? He said unto him, Thou hast said. And as he were eating, Jesus took bread and blessed it, and brake it, and gave it to the disciples, and said, Take, eat, this is my body. And he took the cup and gave thanks, and gave it to them, saying, Drink ye all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine, until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. And when they had sung an hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives. Then saith Jesus unto them, All ye shall be offended because of me this night, for it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. But after I am risen again, I will go before you into Galilee. Peter answered and said unto him, Though all men shall be offended because of thee, yet will I never be offended. Jesus said unto him, Verily I say unto thee, that this night, before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. Peter said unto him, Though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee. Likewise also said all the disciples. Then cometh Jesus with them unto a place called Gethsemane, and saith unto the disciples, Sit ye here while I go and pray yonder. And he took with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, and began to be sorrowful and very heavy. Then saith he unto them, My soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here, and watch with me. And he went a little further, and fell on his face, and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. And he cometh unto the disciples, and findeth them asleep, and saith unto Peter, What? Could ye not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray that ye not enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. He went away again the 2nd time, and prayed, saying, O my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, thy will be done. And he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. And he left them, and went away, and prayed the 3rd time, saying the same words. Then cometh he to his disciples, and saith unto them, Sleep on now, and take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed unto the hands of sinners. Rise, let us be going. Behold, he is at hand that doth betray me. And while he yet spake, lo, Judas, one of the 12, came, and with him a great multitude with swords and staves, from the chief priests and elders of the people. Now he that betrayed him gave them a sign, saying, Whomsoever I shall kiss, that same is he, hold him fast. And forthwith he came to Jesus, and said, Hail, Master, and kissed him. And Jesus said unto him, Friend, wherefore art thou come? Then came they and laid hands on Jesus, and took him. And behold, one of them which were with Jesus stretched out his hand, and drew his sword, and struck a servant of the high priest's, and smote off his ear. Then said Jesus unto him, Put up again thy sword into his place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Thinkest thou that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels? But how then shall the Scriptures be fulfilled, that thus it must be? In that same hour Jesus said to the multitudes, Are ye come out as against a thief with swords and staves, out for to take me? I sat daily with you teaching in the temple, and ye laid no hold on me. But all this was done that the Scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled. Then all the disciples forsook him and fled. And they that had laid hold on Jesus led him away to Caiaphas the high priest, where the scribes and the elders were assembled. But Peter followed him afar unto the high priest's palace, and went in and sat with the servants to see the end. Now the chief priests and elders and all the council sought false witness against Jesus to put him to death, but found none. Yea, though many false witnesses came, yet found they none. At the last came 2 false witnesses, and said, This fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God, and to build it in 3 days. And the high priest arose and said unto him, Answerest thou nothing? What is it which these witness against thee? But Jesus held his peace. And the high priest answered and said unto him, I adjure thee by the living God, that thou tell us whether thou be the Christ, the Son of God. Jesus saith unto him, Thou hast said. Nevertheless I say unto you, hereafter shall ye see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power, and coming in the clouds of heaven. Then the high priest rent his clothes, saying, He hath spoken blasphemy. What further need have we of witnesses? Behold, now ye have heard his blasphemy. What think ye? They answered and said, He is guilty of death. Then did they spit in his face, and buffeted him, and others smote him with the palms of their hands, saying, Prophesy unto us, thou Christ. Who is he that smote thee? Now Peter sat without in the palace, and a damsel came unto him, saying, Thou also wast with Jesus of Galilee. But he denied that before them all, saying, I know not what thou sayest. And when he was gone out into the porch, another maid saw him, and said unto him, them that were there, This fellow was also with Jesus of Nazareth. And again he denied with an oath, I do not know the man. And after a while came unto him they that stood by, and said to Peter, Surely thou also art one of them, for thy speech bewrayeth thee. Then began he to curse and to swear, saying, I know not the man. And immediately the cock crew. And Peter remembered the word of Jesus, which said unto him, Before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. And he went out and wept bitterly. And that's it, guys. That's all of chapter 26. So that was kind of a heart-wrenching chapter. I can only just imagine the stress that must have been going on for Jesus when he was in that garden. Just knowing what was going to happen the next day. I can't even, that just crushes me when I read this, to think that he was so stressed out thinking about, they had seen people crucified many times in that area and knew what it was all about, and he knew what was about to happen to him. And it's just the most horrible, cruel method of execution and torture. And but still, knowing that he was about to go through this, he put us first. And he always told God that, his Father, that, it needed to be his will and not his own, despite what he was feeling, and the fear and stress. And they say in another chapter, they talk about how he was so stressed at the idea of what he was about to go through that he actually sweated blood. It's a horrible picture to think that he had to go through all of that just for us so that we could be saved. And to think that some people are offered such a gift and what he went through for us, and to still reject it. It's hard to comprehend to me. But in any case, good job of getting through another chapter. I wanted to just give you the verse of the week, which I picked Mathew 26:41, that says, Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. I thought this was a really good verse to pick, because we all need to hear that. Because I think the spirit is always willing. In our soul, we want to do what's right, and we want to do usually more than what we actually end up doing, and that's because we're tied to this flesh that's weak. And especially right now, when things are getting so tiresome in the world, and hearing day after day all of these terrible things that are going on, our flesh gets beaten down and defeated. And despite the fact that our spirit wants to continue and fight and make it to the finish line, and there's a war going on between the two. And even that is tiring. That just makes us even more tired in the flesh. And it's tempting to want to just sleep it off, or just kind of do things that are fun and pleasant to take our mind off of the world and what's going on. And sometimes you have to do, you kind of have to take breaks from all of this stuff. You can't just sit there and watch the news day after day and take in all of the evil that's happening in the world and not get away from that. So just please keep that in mind. I know myself having to watch all of this stuff to kind of to inform other people of it, that it does wear me down. I watch a lot of stuff that I don't even end up passing on some of the information, because a lot of it, I think, is being told in order to create fear. That's what we're seeing on the news. There's two different sides of the news, just pitting each other against, one side against the other, and then it's to cause fear so that we are beaten down. That's Satan's motto. That's his MO, to keep, one of the big things that he does, and that demons do, is to keep people from sleeping and to keep people in fear, and that wears you down, and then it makes it harder for you to do things for the Lord. And so we just have to kind of catch ourselves when we find that we're that's happening, and turn it around, because greater is He that is in me than he is in the world. You have to remember that with the help of the Holy Spirit, what might seem impossible for us in this weak flesh is very possible with God and with the help of the Holy Spirit. So get good rest. Try to pray before you go to bed, and then let those things go. Give those stressful things, the things that are fearful, to the Lord before you lay your head down on that pillow, so that you can then check off all those things and not be sitting there rerunning them in your head overnight. I just know a lot of people do that. A lot of family members even that I know have trouble sleeping. Generally people that are not saved. But because they don't have the hope that is in Jesus. But even people that are saved, that's something that is a temptation of the flesh. And that's something that Satan will put these things in your head to try to flood you with things and overwhelm you. But God always gives us a way to escape it. And one of those ways is through prayer. You have to go to the throne room boldly and give those concerns to the Lord, and let Him remember He's the one that is the strong one, that is like we read last week, like how the oxen pull the weight of the plow, because He is so much stronger than we are. So if you just imagine that they're pulling this, big weight full of all of your troubles and things that you've seen on the news that day, or that you're just dealing with in your own life, health issues, financial issues, relationship issues. And speaking of relationship issues, you're going to deal with a lot more things where you might snap at each other more than normal, because you're getting less sleep, you're getting worn down from all of the stuff that's going on, and our weak fleshly bodies can only take so much of these stressful things before it has to vent out somewhere. And it's very easy to especially to take it out on people that you feel safe doing that with, that will forgive you. And I think that's pretty common for people to do that with the people that they're the closest with. But we have to just kind of remember that then that they're also going through these same stressful things, and that, we're just adding more to them. You should be able to communicate and discuss things, bear each other's burdens, the Bible tells us. And we should definitely be doing that. But as long as we're trying to do it in a way that we're not yelling our problems at them. Like, you know what I mean? Instead, you may not be necessarily be angry with them and yelling at them, but you've held in stuff that you're seeing around you that's stressful, and it may come out like you're taking it out on other people. And I just say that from experience, that that's something that as you get older, you kind of get better at it than, when you're younger. But we all deal with it all the time, unto death, right? I think it's something that is just human nature, that's in our flesh, that we tend to do. But I'm just saying that this is something that we see in this example, that even Jesus got stressed out, and that he was like, Dad, he's talking to his dad too, and this is a horrible thing I'm about to go through. If there's any way that I can do this any other way, that would be great. But if not, then your will be done. Because he knew that there's really no other way to do this. This was, if he had given up and not gone through with this, we would all be going to hell. Because this was the only way that we could be saved. So I hope that this chapter, especially for anyone who's never heard this chapter before, that it will remind you of the tremendous, immeasurable love that Jesus has for us. And if you have read this chapter before, let it be a reminder that he loves us so much. And if you are feeling like you're drowning in overwhelming problems, because everyone is having more problems than ever right now, and that's because we're so close to the time of the rapture, and Satan is just dumping everything he can on the church, because he knows that if he wears us down, that's less people we're going to go out and get saved, because we're too tired, too stressed, too sick. Because the more stressed and tired you are, the sicker you're going to get. You're going to pick up other illnesses. And on top of the fact, not even counting the things that they're doing to make people sick, right? In our food, in the water, and everything, in the air that we breathe, all the different things. And I'm not even going to get into the pharmaceutical sorceries, okay? But the things that they're doing to deliberately make us sick, is it no wonder that we're all so worn down and tired and sick right now? And then you add the issues of the financial issues that is being thrown upon the population right now. Okay, so this is a time of some testing, last-ditch effort to show the Lord that our strength through Jesus, that we can rely on His strength, and that we can lay down our troubles at His feet and keep picking ourselves back up. I'm sure, are getting kicked down, all of us, over and over again, and that's fine. You just keep getting back up and getting back up and getting back up. I can speak from experience. Just the last couple of weeks alone, it's been a nightmare for me health-wise. And but you just have to keep going, because the more problems that I have, and the more sick and tired that I get, the more I just keep going back to the scriptures that talk about that the race and the reward system, and the fact that there's going to be people, I think, in heaven where you're all going to be there. All the Christians are going to be there, right? But there's going to be people there that made it in, and they're going to just be satisfied with just being there. I'm just going to be happy to be there also. But then there's going to be people that are going to have more responsibilities and maybe things that we have no comprehension of what will be the difference in eternity, that will be things that we'll be doing, that maybe people that showed that they gave their strength at the end. Remember, you keep talking about that the last shall be first and the first shall be last, and there's a lot of parables that made it sound like there may be something rewarded for those who didn't sprint all the way through the race, but paced themselves, and then the last bit they went all out, right? So they sprinted across the finish line at the last minute, and so it's easy to think, well, it's too late now. I've already wasted so much of my life and didn't do very much for the Lord. So what is the point? There's all these people that are doing amazing things for God. What's the point? I can't compete with that. But that's just simply not true, because I'm sure that God is going to take into consideration that for those who are doing things despite all of the extreme challenges and things that are holding you back, because maybe some of these people have been raised in Christian families and had different opportunities, different resources than you had. Remember, or in the last chapter, how they were talking about the talents and resources? I mean, if you think about it, it seems like you would, if you had very little resources, you were sick, you were poor, you were on your own, you didn't have a family, you didn't have people coming home after work, that you at least had somebody to look forward to seeing, so that you just had to get through a bit of time during the day, but you knew somebody was coming home and you could talk to them about your problems. But you maybe were alone all the time and never had that, but you still came out and did things in this last bit of time you had before the rapture. And you think that God is not going to be extra, excited, and they're not going to be cheering more for that person in heaven? I'm sure that there are people watching everything that you're doing and are rooting you on, even from heaven now, because of the way that the Bible talks about how how God would leave the 99 sheep to go and find that one lost sheep that had got himself in a pickle, right? That went really far away from the flock and got into a pickle. They might have been, they might be a troublesome sheep, or maybe does dumb things, got stuck in a crevasse somewhere, the other ones were all well behaved and stayed where they were supposed to be, but they celebrated more for that one sheep that they had to work for and go get, but because that sheep had found their way to Jesus. And so I know that's probably not well explained, not probably giving the right words for this, but basically I'm trying to say that don't sell yourself short if you are getting a late start, because a lot of people didn't find Jesus until like 2016, when all of the stuff went on with the elections, and people started waking up to what was really going on, the whole satanic system. People started waking up to that at that point. Not everybody had the kind of childhood that I had where you knew the other side and you saw that that was real. And so obviously I knew God was real from a very young age because being surrounded by people that hated him, right? And that you could, if you know that Satan and demons are real and people are worshiping them and trying to do bad things against the people that followed Jesus, then how would you not know that obviously God and that Jesus is real and Christianity is legit? So that is something good that I got out of all of this stuff that happened to me. Maybe I wouldn't have known. Maybe I wouldn't have found my way to Jesus if I hadn't gone through those things. And maybe I wouldn't have had the strength that I had to be able to get through some of the catastrophes in my life, the car accidents and the health issues that I've had to get through. Maybe I wouldn't have been able to empathize with other people that have the same kind of issues and be able to comfort them. So there's always a reason why we go through these things. But my point was that, and I do have one, believe it or not. I had a point when I started here. But no, I think in the last so many years, people started coming to Jesus like never before. Because I think that one of the reasons why a lot of the things, the calamities and the things that happen, and this whole dividing process of the wheat from the tares, that you can visually see, clearly you could watch everybody divided left versus right sort of thing. People were choosing God for the first time, and they may have gone through their whole life just living in the world system, asleep, spiritually blind, and it wasn't until that, like I said, it basically in 2016 is when a lot of people started coming around and starting to, the veil was starting to get lifted. And so, really, their journey has really just been in the last part of their life. And if, say, we were to get raptured sometime in the next couple of years or whatever, hopefully this next month or whatever, hopefully any day, but in any case, it can't be too much longer, then they will have only had this last bit of their life to earn rewards or to sprint to the finish line, right? So if you're in that category, you're not alone, is my point. That a lot of people are going to be in that group. And so make that sprint a good one. If everybody's sprinting to that finish line at the last minute, they just had the blinders removed. Imagine running blind, right? And then all of a sudden someone takes off those blinders and you see that you're in the last lap. You're going to floor it, right? You're going to book it to that finish line fast as you can. And so that's where we're at right now. So I'm going to be cheering you guys on as you head around that last lap. And hopefully you guys will be cheering me on. And together we're going to make it across that finish line. And we're going to finish strong. Well, the people maybe that had been doing this their whole life, maybe they've gotten a little bit lackadaisy because they're used to it, right? Maybe they're pooped out because they've been just kind of running at a pace the whole time. They don't have anything left to sprint to the last bit. So you may have an advantage there even. So, but a lot of them, they also will have the experience under their belt. So we all have a different experience leading us to where we are right now. Whether you're somebody who has been a Christian your whole life, or whether you are someone who's just come into the knowledge of the Lord in the last, 6 to 10 years, or what have you. We all need to get all of our last minute energy here, no matter what our troubles are, no matter what are things that are dragging us down. We need to just drop that weight, and like as if you were running in the military, how they got to run with those packs on, and that gives them the extra strength. Well, now we have the opportunity to take that pack off and give it to Jesus, like we're passing the baton in a race, and He can floor it. Take that pack, and now we're just lifted, and we have all that weight is gone. We should be able to sprint to the end, because we don't have that weight of all of the worries and the fear and things like that that are very heavy. Even Jesus used that term when He was going to pray in that garden at the last minute. He was sorrowful unto death, and He was very heavy. Right? That's. Don't you feel heavy when you slip back into thinking about all this stuff? And how am I going to do this, or how am I going to do that? But if you drop all that weight and you give it to the Lord, and you be like, I don't have to know how this is going to happen. I'm just going to trust that Jesus is going to make it happen, because that I can tell you from my own life that I have done both. I've sat there and worried myself sick over things, and other times as I got older and started to learn that has not helped me at all, and Jesus has come through to fix each of these issues time after time after time. I couldn't even begin to list how many things that I wasted time worrying on that God just came through with unexpected solutions. And, now I know a bit more that I can trust that, because it took me a long time to trust because of my life of not trusting people. So then it was harder for me to trust anyone. But now I trust Jesus more than I have ever in my life, and so I'm lighter, and I can run to that finish line with at least without the weight that of worry, at the very least, the weight of worry, and that's one of the heaviest things that we carry around. So if you can ditch that, you can focus on the other things that we can do for Jesus. And I bet you when you start doing that, you're going to see that a lot of things that get put in that tried by the fire are going to make it through that fire and come out precious gems on the other side. So, in any case, I hope that this has been a blessing to you. I will link that verse of the week in the description box. And I will be back again next week with the next chapter. And I will try to get back in with some other videos this week as well. All right, I hope you guys are all doing well. I love you, and God bless you. Until next time, I'll be seeing you. Bye-bye.